The next amount that we need to calculate is D. That is the telephone for June. The telephone for June. Right. What have you been told? We have been told here that telephone is expected to decrease. Telephone is expected to decrease by 8%. Now, how much was telephone? Telephone for April was 1,500. Telephone for May was 1,500. Now we are told it's going to decrease by 8%. Now what we are simply going to say, we're going to say 1,500 multiplied by 92 over 100. 92 here, where do I take the 92 from? 1,500 is 100%. 100% minus 8% is equals to 92%. Right? That is what they are actually saying. Then, when you make this simple calculation, you will see 1,500 multiply by 92 divided by 100 is equals to 1,380. Now, if the question had said telephone increase, if the telephone would have said telephone increase, I would have multiplied by 108 over 100. If it was an increase, I would have multiplied by 108 over 100, which is 100 plus the 80% increase. So here it has decreased. That is why I have subtracted the 8%. That is the shortest and the easiest way of making that calculation. Right. Now the E, salaries and wages. Salaries and wages, yeah, this will explain what I meant. The E is the salaries and wages. Now, under F here, the instruction says, salaries and wages is expected to increase by 5% on 1 May. Salaries and wages is expected to increase by 5% on 1 May. Which means that the 5% has already been included there. The 5% has already been included there. Therefore, in order to make that calculation, you are going to say 17,850 over 1 multiplied by 105 over 100. Because you want to get the amount before the increase, right? You want to get the amount for April. What was the salary before the increase in May? That is actually what the question is saying. You want to get the amount of salaries and wages for April. The question actually is saying to us, what was the amount for salaries and wages before the increase? Now you say 17,850 multiply by 105 divided by 100. 17,850 multiplied by 100 over 105. This will give us 17,000. We want to calculate the amount before the increase. Therefore, it's 100 over 105. We use the same principle that we used to calculate the cost price. Remember, we use the same principle that we used to calculate the cost price. The amount before the increase is always over 100, over the amount after the increase. That is why we have 100 over 105. When I multiply by what I initially did here is how they came to 1750. You will see if you say, if I was given the amount of 17,500 and I was told that the increase was 5%. To get to 17,850, I would have said 17,000 over 1 multiplied by 100 over 105 over 100. It will give me 17,850. Ne? That will to show an increase. But here, because I was given the amount before, after the increase, I say 17,850 multiplied by 100 over 15. I'm sure you are able to see the difference. And then finally, F, advertising. Advertising. They say advertising is calculated at a fixed percentage of total sales. Advertising is calculated at a fixed percentage of total sales. Right. Which means we must go back to our total sales. We must go back to our total sales. We want advertising for the month of May. Our total sales for May, is 80,000, right? Is 80,000. But we don't know the percentage, right? If we knew the percentage, it will be very simple. We would simply say, if we knew the percentage, it will be simple. We will simply say 80,000 multiply by this percentage, it will give us the answer. But we don't know the percentage. But we can use the figures of either April or June to calculate the percentage. Now, what was the advertising for April? The advertising for April was 3,000, right? The advertising for April was 3,000. What was the sales, total sales for April? We know that the total sales for April were 60,000. 3,000 over 60,000 multiplied by 100 over 1. Uh, 3,000 divided by 60,000 multiplied by 100. It gives us 5%. This is for April. Now let's check for June. For June, the total sales were 90,000. Total sales were 90,000. And advertising for June is 4,500. Advertising for June is 4,500. There we are. 4,500 multiplied by 100 over 1. We just want to check. 4,500 divided by 4,500 divided by 90,000 multiplied by 100. It still gives us 5%. Therefore, the percentage for advertising is 5% of total sales. Now our sales for May is 80,000. Therefore, we now know the percentage is 5%. Therefore, you will have 80,000 multiplied by 5% is equals to 4,000. We use the amounts in for May, for April and June in order to get the percentage. Then we applied that percentage to the month of May. Therefore, we have answered question number 2. We said we must calculate the figures that were missing. We must calculate the figures that were missing.